There are many famous and flattering quotes about San Francisco. George Sterling called it the cool, gray city of love. Robin Williams claimed, "I can walk down the streets of San Francisco, and here I'm normal." The city has many famous other admirers, but in 1906, the city could have quite easily been wiped off the map. San Francisco lies on the edge of the North American plate, close to where it meets the Pacific plate, and it is estimated that around 5,000 earthquakes happen in the area per year. However, most of these are such low magnitude that the chances are you wouldn't even feel them occurring. In the years leading up to this massive seismic event, San Francisco had seen its fair share of earthquakes, with quakes being reported in 1864, 1898, and 1900. But nothing could have prepared them for the devastation that was to come. At 5:12 a.m. on April 18, 1906, the San Andreas Fault slipped along a 270-mile segment, causing shaking to be felt from Coos Bay, Oregon to Los Angeles. Residents were awakened by a noise that reportedly sounded like the roar of 10,000 lions. The entire city began to shake, causing the glass roof of the Palace Hotel to shatter and fall into the courtyard below. Inside the hotel, Frederick A. Hinn was sleeping and wrote a first-hand account of what he witnessed upon waking. "I felt the earthquake coming. The plaster from all around the sides of the room fell in large pieces, while in the middle of the room, only sand and dust came down. As soon as it subsided, I arose and turned on the electric light. Its unsteadiness indicated danger to the house being set afire. I dressed quickly and went downstairs, no elevator running, and there being no cars, started to walk down Market Street. But there were two fires on the street near the ferry, and I saw brick houses falling into the street." The earthquake itself, measuring nearly 8.0 on the Richter scale, only lasted a matter of minutes. The quake shook the city, but it could be said that the true damage was done in the aftermath. The Victorian brick buildings with their wooden frames could not withstand the force of the shaking. Chimneys cracked and water and gas mains were broken. The leaking gas caused fires to break out almost immediately, with one of the largest, dubbed the ham and eggs fire, starting when a person lit their stove to cook breakfast. Their broken chimney caused the roof and then the house to ignite in flames. The disrupted water supply affected firefighters, who could not efficiently combat the inferno. Although one hydrant at Church and 20th miraculously maintained enough water pressure. This hydrant, known as the Golden Hydrant, is now a local tourist attraction and is painted gold on April 18th of each year. The fires raged for days after the initial event, as authorities struggled to keep it under control. 16-year-old Howard T. Livingston remembered waking in his home, dressing, and rushing outside. Our immediate reaction was one of relief that our broken chimneys had not come through the roof. A block away, I found that a section of Union Street had slid over a bank and into a vegetable garden, carrying the cable car tracks with it. Someone pointed southeast, and we saw a heavy column of smoke rising from downtown. The brick walls of the gasworks and the steam power plant had disintegrated. I returned home and found my mother trying her kitchen taps. She found neither gas nor water. My mother cooked breakfast on her wood stove, the last time she'll be able to use it for some days. I left for work, but had to walk, as no streetcars were running. At the ironworks, the superintendent realized we were uneasy and soon sent us home. Despite this harrowing start to the morning, Howard still had the presence of mind to go to work. Panicked, most of the city's inhabitants grabbed what possessions they could and fled. Mr. Bacigalupi, who sold phonographs, pianos, and slot machines, hurried into town to see what damage had occurred to his establishments. I started to walk to town, and arriving within about 8 blocks of the business section, noted that there were hardly any panes of glass left in any of the show windows. Buildings were tumbled over on their sides. Others looked as though they had been cut off short with a cleaver. The majority of people were hurrying in the opposite direction to which I was going. They were taking to the hills. There were a great many comical sights, such as a woman carrying ironing boards and an iron. One woman carried a parrot's cage in one hand, while in the other was a bundle of clothes. On reaching 7th Street, I noted that Mission Street was in flames. I ran down to my store, trying to unfasten the door, but the lock was so hot I scorched my fingers. On the outskirts of town, Howard Livingston witnessed the mass exodus from the burning city. About noon, refugees from the burned areas began coming by, carrying a few possessions with them. About 2 p.m., a neighbor passed, telling us all that an order from the mayor's office prohibited all indoor fires. Telephones were not functioning, and of course, there were no radios. Orders of this type were circulated by the police, who told individual citizens to pass the word along. As I look back on it in this day of elaborate communication systems, it seems amazing how quickly and accurately orders were spread throughout the city. The San Francisco Fire Department had to call in an artillery division from the Presidio Army Post to combat the ongoing blaze. They unsuccessfully attempted to control the spread of the fire by dynamiting certain buildings as the fire swept from the business section near Montgomery Street in the south of Market District towards Russian Hill, Chinatown, North Beach, and Telegraph Hill. The financial district was in flames by noon, and as night fell, the city's center had been incinerated. During the first days of the fires, the city authorities had only granted permission to blow up buildings that were in immediate contact with the ones already alight. Feeling this was hampering the efforts to control the fire, General Funston met with the Citizens Committee to outline a risky strategy to save some buildings by demolishing others. Captain Levert Coleman of the Presidio Artillery Corps describes the dangerous circumstances of this scheme. The charges often had to be laid in buildings already on fire. The dynamite had to be carried by hand through showers of sparks. The wires, constantly shortened by repeated explosions, could be replaced only by climbing poles in the burning district and cutting down street wires. After the fire had subsided, Coleman remained resolute that the destruction of the buildings was essential. Many others questioned whether they had just wrought more unnecessary devastation on the already ravaged city. On April 20th, 20,000 refugees trapped by the fires managed to escape into the USS Chicago from the foot of Van Ness Avenue, and by April 23rd, most of the fires had finally been extinguished. The city was left in a state of ruins. It is estimated that around 3,000 people lost their lives due to the earthquake and subsequent fires, and almost 30,000 buildings have been destroyed. More than 500 blocks had been leveled, causing property losses of an estimated $350 million. Chinatown was destroyed, and racial tensions in the city led officials to use this as an opportunity to try and displace the Chinese residents. The estimated 15,000 Chinese inhabitants lost everything. Many relocated to Oakland. Any Chinese remaining in the city were moved to segregated camps. However, once city officials realized that they would lose valuable tax revenues, they allowed the Chinese San Franciscans to rebuild Chinatown. Of course, it was not just San Francisco that suffered. Damage and losses were reported in San Jose, Milpitas, Irvington, Centerville, Niles, and Alvarado, modern-day Fremont and Union City. In San Jose, they were concerned that there would be a mass influx of refugees from San Francisco. San Jose officials held a conference the morning after the earthquake, voicing their concerns and asserting that the depots will be watched and an attempt to land large crowds of passengers will be prevented. The officials list the extent of the damage in San Jose, including Hale's store is a mass of ruins, Blake Brothers Electrical Works badly damaged, O'Brien's Candy Factory roof fell in, Paul Furrier ran out of the firehouse, the wall fell on him, and he was crushed to death. Gas was turned off, and many people had no breakfast. Nearly every restaurant was out of business. In the ruins of San Francisco, around 250,000 people have become homeless. Some journeyed to the nearby towns, and others camped in Golden Gate Park or the dunes that lay to the west. It is easy to imagine that this would be the end of San Francisco, but it was not so. The people of San Francisco chose to use this devastating event to their advantage. Before long, relief shipments of food and clothes arrived, along with financial aid from Europe, Japan, China, and parts of America. Howard Livingston remembers, "Everyone was busy, and I frequently heard people say that the new San Francisco would be a finer city than the one which had been destroyed. I worked on the steel framing of some of the first new buildings erected after the fire." Seeing how quickly the wood and mason structures were ruined, developers started using these sturdier and less flammable materials for construction. San Francisco had expanded rapidly during the gold rush and in a rather haphazard manner. So city planners used this opportunity to rebuild the city in a way that would surpass its former glory. The only bank in the city that could provide funds for the reconstruction was the Bank of Italy. which had been founded just a couple of years before the fire by an Italian immigrant called Amedeo Giannini. Giannini also paid for ships to sail north and collect lumber for rebuilding. In the years to come, the Bank of Italy would merge with the smaller Bank of America, with the Bank of Italy later adopting that name. The fire had shown people the value of the motorcar. Prior to the disaster, the motorcar had been a novelty item of the wealthy, but they had proven to be instrumental in fighting the flames. Architects decided to enhance the flow of traffic and people around the city and included many open spaces, such as the Civic Center and Fisherman's Wharf. The Mooney metro system was another addition made possible by the destruction. Many other improvements were implemented as a direct result of the catastrophic fires. On July 5, 1906, Ordinance Number 31 was passed and expanded the zones in the city that required fireproofing. The disaster also had a profound effect on our understanding of earthquakes. In 1908, members of a self-formed commission surveyed the earthquake's impact and released the Lawson Report, which revealed the entirety of the San Andreas Fault and its movements. This report is the basis for much of what we know today about fault lines. Before this study, it was believed that earthquakes caused fault lines and not the other way around. The Lawson Report also concluded that much of the damage done by the earthquake was concealed by the fire. After the fire had passed, standing walls revealed ugly, sinuous cracks in rudely parallel systems, which were not due to fire nor to dynamite. San Francisco hosted the Pan-Pacific International Exposition just 9 years after the disaster. This exhibition invited the world to see how San Francisco had risen from the ashes. The city's amazing comeback was primarily thanks to the resilience and determination of its citizens. While the damage of this event was devastating for San Francisco, San Franciscans turned this terrible loss of life and livelihoods into an opportunity to improve and enhance their beloved city. To learn more about the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, check out our book, 1906 San Francisco Earthquake, a captivating guide to the deadliest earthquake in the history of the United States. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. Also, grab your free mythology bundle ebook while it's still available. All links are in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.